There is no doubt that politics has an important part to play in our lives. It's been the topic of many passionate speeches, many drunk rambles, and a lot of awkward family dinners. No two people truly share the same exact ideals, and that is what makes this topic so divisive. But today, I will convince you of one thing in which I firmly believe. Education is the most important issue in politics. Now be warned, I'm going to say one thing that no politician has said or ever will say. I'm going to use as many tactics as I can to persuade you to join my side in believing that education is the most important issue in politics. I have planned to use testimonials, statistics, and facts from peer-reviewed studies from around the world to form a logical argument in your brain. I'm going to manipulate and twist your mind using psychological triggers that will appeal to your emotions, both good and bad. Through this rhetoric today, I will convince you that education is the most important issue in politics. Before I begin, I must submit the fact that education is the backbone of our knowledge. School is our default option to send to kids for a reason. Here they learn skills like reading, math, science, and social skills. As school progresses, they learn to adjust to this difficulty. They learn how to overcome challenges, deal with learning curves, and use these skills that they will utilize for the rest of their lives. And academics agree. A journal published in the Institute of Medicine states that school is a key juncture for brain development. They state there is no question that a child's experiences will interact with the biological makeup of the brain. Now, researchers relate school as a foundation that children can build upon as they progress into adulthood. As such, it is very important that we make sure that this foundation is sturdy and sound. At this time, it's not. As a matter of fact, that foundation is crumbling. And the historical data proves this. Now, just 3 months ago, two of the biggest researchers in the world, Harvard and Stanford, the Harvard Center for Education Policy Research and the Stanford Education Recovery Scorecard, came together for one big analysis around America's education. And they came to this conclusion. It's getting worse. Since 2013, education has been on a decline. Now you can see, 2020, there was a noticeable drop because of COVID, as students learned to adjust to the pandemic. So, with these trends turning downwards, how can we turn them upwards? What are we doing to turn this trend upwards? What is the government doing? Well, not enough. Matter of fact, they're only making it worse, because a recent policy decision makes education foreseeably worse. Last year, the Trump administration decided to reorganize the Department of Education. Now I can say with absolute certainty that this is a net negative for education. They cut federal staff in the Department of Education in half. We're now spending $1 billion less towards scientific grants and research. This has resulted in interagency offloading, as the Department of Education's utilities are forced upon other agencies that are simply not equipped to handle it. This also resulted in many funding cuts, notably Title I, Title II, and Title III funding cuts. Get to those later. They're very important for the structure of our education system. So, all this, combined with the COVID funding shortage, which the funding that we passed in 2020 to deal with this issue being expired, means that schools have more problems to deal with less room for solutions. So can we solve this issue? Yes, we can. The answer is quite simple. It is found in increasing our education budget. The financial support gives students access to greater education. There's no doubt about that. The Commonwealth Institute showed that a 10% increase per student each year showed pronounced changes in test score and graduation rates 91 and 92% of the times, respectively. Now, the metric that they were based upon, the variable metric, was the Title I funding. That was the 10% increase. So by keeping Title I, we're able to raise the education floor, meaning at the bottom of the education achievers be able to raise up. So, this is how Title I funding is currently being managed. It's very important. Title I is found, a school district is qualified for Title I funding if 40% of the students in their school district fall below the poverty line. Now, typically, the more unfortunate students are usually the ones with less grades and less comprehension in education. So by keeping Title I funding, we're able to raise that floor and make sure that the education crisis doesn't get any worse. Now, no matter if we keep Title I funding or not, this issue will alter lives. There's no doubt about that. This gives youth many more opportunities if we fund more. This could result in more scholarships. That may be the deciding factor if a student wants to pursue higher education or not. This could result in more teacher mentors, giving students a more hands-on approach to learning. This may result in free meals to a child, giving that overworked mother a little bit more relief. Not to mention, education achievement is something to be proud of. Somebody said something to me that stuck with me. They said that education is unlike any other prestigious characteristics. Talent, physical ability, wealth. The fact that education is something that everybody can do. George Washington Carver said that education is the key that unlocks the golden door to freedom. And I couldn't agree more. But I do think that golden door is closing. To stop this, action is needed. And the need for education has been very pronounced in the voices of activists throughout history. Education is the kindling of a flame, not the filling of the vessel, from Socrates. Education is the vaccine of violence, from Edward James Olmos. Education is the most powerful weapon that you can use in which you can change the world, from Nelson Mandela. My personal favorite, the more that you read, the more things you'll know. The more that you learn, the more places you'll go, from Dr. Seuss. So the lives of the people that author these quotes, they're vastly different. There's one flag in which they all unite under: education. Now, this flag is hosts of people who challenge the current system, who strive for change, who strive to see education better. Socrates, he died for the open dialogue, going against the traditional fee-based education at the time. Thomas Jefferson lobbied for public school systems, acknowledging the fact that Socrates may be onto something. John Dewey challenged Jefferson's rigidness of the school system. Each individual that I just mentioned learned from the people before them, used those lessons from those experiences, and lectured against the flawed processes of the time. So while you and I may not have the experiences or the name that these great men have, that does not disqualify us for advocating towards greater education. So how do we really advocate towards greater education? The answer is in our rights as citizens. The right to vote and the right for free speech. Vote for candidates that are against destroying the Department of Education. While Trump may try, he cannot destroy the Department of Education. That decision is up to the House and the Senate. Who votes those people in? We do. It is our responsibility to do our due diligence and understand our candidates' viewpoints before we vote for them. Now, the proposed bill to destroy the Department of Education will be addressed by December 31st of this year, the Illinois general midterms, in which we vote for our senators and our representatives on November 3rd. So we have access to change the outcome of our education system. So when you head to the polls this November, remember that this issue will alter lives. I encourage you to fight for stronger education, to advocate for our future, to remember what is at stake this voting season. Thank you.